Ed Sullivan holds a unique place in the hearts of many Americans, but much of the public is unaware of the man behind his persona. Join us as Facts First presents He Died 50 Years Ago. Now Ed Sullivan's daughter reveals the truth. Ed's early life. Edward Vincent Sullivan was born September 28, 1901 in Harlem, New York City, to Peter Arthur Sullivan and Elizabeth Frazier. He was the youngest of three siblings. His father was a customs house employee and his mother was a homemaker. Growing up in a Roman Catholic household, Sullivan attended St. Patrick's Cathedral School and DeWitt Clinton High School, where he displayed a keen interest in sports journalism. In 1918, he began working as a sports reporter for the Portchester Daily Item. He later joined the Hartford Post and the New York Evening Mail. By the mid-20s, Sullivan had become a respected sports journalist and columnist, writing for the New York Daily News. While there, he started to cover Broadway and nightclubs, which helped him develop connections in the entertainment industry. He was eventually offered a job as the Master of Ceremonies for the Harvest Moon Ball, an annual dance championship held at Madison Square Garden. Sullivan's successful hosting caught the attention of radio producers, leading him to host the variety show Summer Silver Theater in 1937. How the Ed Sullivan Show came to be. Sullivan transitioned to television in 1948 when he was asked to host Toast of the Town, later renamed The Ed Sullivan Show. It was a weekly variety program on CBS that aired from June 20th, 1948 to June 6th, 1971, making it one of the longest-running variety shows in American history. The show featured a wide range of talented performers, including singers, comedians, actors, and circus acts. The show's format was designed to appeal to a broad audience, with Sullivan's affable personality and knack for discovering talent being the driving force behind its success. He had an uncanny ability to identify future stars and provide them with a platform to showcase their abilities. The show's impact on pop culture was immense. It provided a launching pad for numerous iconic artists like Elvis Presley, the Beatles, the Supremes, and the Rolling Stones. Sullivan's willingness to promote African-American performers like Nat King Cole and Sammy Davis Jr. also broke racial barriers and contributed to the broader civil rights movement. Sullivan's decision to feature Elvis Presley in 1956 marked a turning point in the history of rock and roll. Presley's performance drew a record 60 million viewers, propelling him to superstardom and solidifying the show's reputation as a cultural touchstone. That success was replicated when the Beatles made their first U.S. television appearance on the show in 1964, attracting over 73 million viewers and initiating the British invasion. Ed Sullivan's influence was also felt in comedy as it provided early exposure to comedians like Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and Joan Rivers. Ed Sullivan's later life. As the entertainment landscape evolved, the Ed Sullivan Show's popularity waned in the late 1960s. The advent of color TV, changing musical tastes, and an increasingly fragmented audience contributed to its decline. Despite these challenges, Sullivan continued to host the show until its cancellation in 1971. After that, he made a few guest appearances on other TV programs, but struggled to find a new project that matched his previous success. On September 13, 1974, he passed away from esophageal cancer at New York's Lenox Hill Hospital. He was 72. His death marked the end of an era in American television, as his show had played an instrumental role in shaping the country's popular culture for over 2 decades. Ed's personal life. Ed Sullivan's personal life was anchored by his marriage to Sylvia Weinstein on April 28, 1930. The couple met at a newspaper event, and their marriage lasted until Ed's death in 1974. Sullivan was known to be a devoted husband and father, and the couple's relationship was marked by their strong bond and mutual support. They had one child, Elizabeth Betty Sullivan, born in 1932. Betty Sullivan grew up immersed in the world of entertainment due to her father's successful career. Despite her exposure to fame and the limelight, she maintained a relatively private life. She attended the Professional Children's School in Manhattan and later pursued higher education at University of Miami. She married composer and pianist Bob Precht in 1952, with whom she had 3 children: Robert Edward Rob Precht, Margot Elizabeth, and Carla Marie. Ed's secret temper. In spite of the progressive person he appeared to be on the surface, accounts from those close to the man, including his aforementioned daughter and his grandson Rob, have cast him as a much more shadowy figure. Betty Sullivan has recounted stories of her father's notorious temper in various interviews. According to her, Ed was prone to fits of rage, often sparked by minor inconveniences or perceived slights. Although he never exhibited physical aggression, his anger could be intense and intimidating. Ed's volatile temper was perhaps best exemplified by an incident at home when he discovered a broken window. Believing the neighborhood children to be responsible, he stormed outside and confronted them, only to learn that a stray ball had caused the damage from his own daughter's playtime. This incident highlights not only Ed's quick temper, but also his tendency to jump to conclusions before gathering all the facts. Betty Sullivan has revealed in interviews that her father's paranoia extended to her own romantic relationships. When she began dating a young man, Ed was convinced her boyfriend was a communist sympathizer. His suspicions led him to investigate the young man's background, even going so far as to hire a private investigator to gather information. Ultimately, his fears were unfounded, but the incident strained their father-daughter relationship and left a lasting impression on Betty. Ed Sullivan's suspicion of communism was a product of the era. His fear of communism was rampant in the U.S. during the 50s and early 60s, with many people scrutinized for political beliefs. Despite his success and popularity on TV, Ed was known to be quite asocial off-camera. His daughter Betty has opened up about his preference for solitude, often choosing to spend time alone in his study rather than engaging with others. This introverted nature was one of the defining characteristics of his personality, which often surprised those who knew him only as a charismatic television host. Ed's asocial behavior wasn't limited to his home life. It extended to his professional life as well. Many of his colleagues have shared stories of his aloofness and disinterest in socializing. Although he maintained a professional demeanor with coworkers, he rarely engaged in friendly conversation or displayed warmth. Rob Precht's perspective. Ed's grandson, Rob Precht, has also spoken about his grandfather's complex personality in interviews. According to Rob, Ed struggled with emotional vulnerability and often masked his feelings with a stoic exterior. He believes his grandfather's temper and asocial behavior were a result of this emotional guardedness, which made it difficult for him to connect with others on a deeper level. Rob acknowledges his grandfather's public persona was quite different from the man he knew in private. Ed was a devoted family man who cared deeply for his wife and children, but his emotional struggles made it difficult for him to express his love openly. Despite his flaws, Rob remembers his grandfather as a loving and supportive figure in his life. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know Ed Sullivan preferred being alone and that he thought his daughter's boyfriend was a communist? Let us know in the comments section.